The winds of fate have shifted, and the shadows that once lurked in the corners of the wolf world are now gathering strength. The power of the ancients has been awakened, but even that might not be enough to stop the tide of darkness that threatens to engulf all. Aurion, the last hope of the wolves, stands on the precipice of a battle that will determine the future of the realm. But in the depths of the wolf world, something far more sinister is stirring. An ancient force, long dormant, is about to rise. The Shadow King is awakening, and with him comes an era of darkness that could swallow even the brightest light. Prepare yourselves, for the rise of the Shadow King has begun. The chapter opens with a sweeping view of the wolf world, once again under siege. The skies, once touched with hints of dawn, are now a stormy mass of swirling clouds, the sun barely visible through the oppressive gloom. The air is thick with the scent of impending doom, as if the very world is holding its breath for what is to come. Aurion, now burdened with the power of the ancients, stands on the edge of a cliff overlooking the shadowed valley, a place where the shadows have grown so dense that they seem to have a life of their own. His fur, once a symbol of strength and purity, is now streaked with the dark energy of the ancients, a constant reminder of the power he wields and the cost of that power. Beside him stands Mistwalker, his loyal companion, and a few other wolves who have survived the trials and battles that have brought them to this moment. Their eyes are filled with a mixture of fear and determination, knowing that the battle they are about to face could very well be their last. "Aurion," Mistwalker begins, his voice low and filled with concern. "The shadows, they're growing stronger. I can feel them pressing against my mind, trying to take control." Aurion nods, his gaze never leaving the dark valley below. "The Shadow King is gathering his strength. We've faced many challenges, but this is something else entirely. We cannot afford to hesitate. The fate of the wolf world depends on us." As they descend into the valley, the wolves are met with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional whisper of the wind through the dead trees. The ground beneath their paws is cold and unyielding, as if the very earth itself has been drained of life. The deeper they go, the thicker the shadows become, until they are forced to rely on the glow of Aurion's power to light their way. The shadowed valley is a place of twisted beauty, where the remnants of once great forests now stand as skeletal monuments to a time long past. The air is heavy with the scent of decay, and the shadows themselves seem to pulse with a malevolent energy. As they reach the heart of the valley, they find themselves in a massive clearing surrounded by the remnants of ancient structures, pillars and stones covered in strange, unreadable runes. In the center of the clearing stands a massive stone altar, upon which lies a figure shrouded in darkness. Aurion approaches cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. The figure is massive, easily twice the size of any wolf he has ever seen, and its fur is as black as the void. As he draws closer, the figure stirs, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The Shadow King has awakened. The ground trembles as the Shadow King rises to his full height, towering over Aurion and his pack. His presence is overwhelming, a palpable force that presses down on them, making it difficult to breathe. The air around him crackles with dark energy, and the shadows that have been gathering in the valley now swirl around him like a living entity. Aurion's heart races, but he stands firm, his eyes locked on the Shadow King's glowing gaze. "You are the one they call the Shadow King," he says, his voice steady despite the fear that grips him. "I am Aurion, bearer of the power of the ancients. I will not let you plunge this world into darkness." The Shadow King's voice is a low rumble, like the distant thunder of an approaching storm. "Aurion, I have heard of you, the one who seeks to defy the shadows, to wield the power of the ancients, but you are too late. The darkness that I bring is not something you can fight. It is inevitable. It is destiny." Without warning, the Shadow King lunges at Aurion, moving with a speed that belies his massive size. Aurion barely has time to react, summoning a shield of light just in time to deflect the attack. The force of the blow sends him skidding backward, his paws digging into the earth as he struggles to maintain his balance. The other wolves leap into action, launching themselves at the Shadow King with a ferocity born of desperation. But the Shadow King is no ordinary foe. He moves with a fluid grace, his attacks precise and devastating. One by one, the wolves are thrown back, their efforts futile against the sheer power of the Shadow King. Aurion knows that this battle cannot be won with brute force alone. Drawing upon the power of the ancients, he unleashes a wave of energy that sends the shadows recoiling. The light sears through the darkness, momentarily blinding the Shadow King and giving Aurion the opening he needs. With a roar, Aurion charges at the Shadow King, his body glowing with the full power of the ancients. The impact is explosive, the force of their clash sending shockwaves through the valley. For a moment it seems as though Aurion might have the upper hand, but the Shadow King's strength is far beyond anything he has ever faced. The battle rages on, each strike met with an equally devastating counterattack. The valley is torn apart by the sheer force of their struggle, the ground splintering, and the air filled with the sound of their growls and roars. As the battle reaches its peak, Aurion begins to feel the strain of the power he wields. The energy of the ancients is immense, but it is also a burden, a force that threatens to consume him if he is not careful. The Shadow King, sensing his weakness, presses the attack, driving Aurion back with a relentless assault. Just when it seems as though all hope is lost, a new presence makes itself known, a wolf cloaked in shadow but with eyes that burn with a fierce light. The mysterious figure leaps into the fray, striking the Shadow King with a power that matches even that of the ancients. The Shadow King is momentarily stunned, giving Aurion the chance to recover. Together, he and the mysterious wolf fight side by side, their attacks coordinated and precise. The tide of the battle begins to turn, and for the first time, the Shadow King seems to falter. But the victory is short-lived. With a roar of fury, the Shadow King unleashes his full power, the shadows around him swelling and consuming everything in their path. The mysterious wolf is thrown back, and Aurion is once again left to face the Shadow King alone. With the last of his strength, Aurion summons the power of the ancients one final time. The ground beneath him glows with a radiant light, and the energy surges through him, amplifying his power to its peak. The Shadow King, sensing the danger, charges at Aurion with a roar, his eyes blazing with fury. The two forces collide with a cataclysmic explosion, the impact sending shockwaves through the valley. The light and darkness clash in a violent struggle, each trying to overpower the other. The ground shakes, the sky darkens, and for a moment it seems as though the world itself might be torn apart. But in the end, it is Aurion who prevails. With a final, desperate push, he drives the power of the ancients into the heart of the Shadow King, shattering the darkness and banishing the shadows that have plagued the world. The Shadow King lets out a roar of pain and fury as he is consumed by the light, his form dissolving into nothingness. The shadows that once filled the valley are gone, replaced by the first rays of dawn breaking through the clouds. Aurion stands amidst the devastation, his body battered and bruised, but his spirit unbroken. The wolves that survived the battle gather around him, their eyes filled with awe and gratitude. The Shadow King has fallen, but at a great cost. As the chapter comes to a close, the valley, now bathed in the light of a new dawn. The world is scarred, but there is hope. A hope that was nearly extinguished, but has now been rekindled. The rise of the Shadow King was a trial like no other. Aurion's voice echoes, filled with both sorrow and resolve. But we have emerged victorious, stronger for the battles we have fought and the bonds we have forged. The wolf world is safe, for now. But the shadows are never truly gone, and the journey ahead is still fraught with danger. If you've been moved by the epic battles and the courageous stand of Aurion and his pack, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Black X Wolf Entertainment. The journey is far from over, and the future of the wolf world hangs in the balance.